Dear colleagues, my talk concerns, in general, fundamental notions of physics, which form its basis. In particular, it is devoted to analysis of introduction to physics, the concepts of electron spin and other concepts related to spin and their influence on the development of physics. Notions of spin and spin magnetic moment corresponding to the spin play a crucial role in electromagnetism. Introduction of the concept of spin for the first time for an electron became the beginning of a wide application of this concept in physics. After the electron, the notion of spin was attributed to all elementary particles. As a result, by the present day, the physical parameters associated with spin have formed in a group of the most important, irreplaceable parameters of modern physics, constituting its foundation along with all other physical parameters. Our research has shown, however, that it was made a fundamental mistake in accepting the spin concept, as if it were real, allegedly characterizing free particles. Analyzing all the data relating to electron spin, we found that actually physicists deal not with their own mechanical moments, called the spin, of free electrons, as they believe, and their own magnetic moment corresponding to the spin, but with the orbital mechanical and orbital magnetic moments of electrons bound to atoms. That is, they deal with the magnetic moments of atoms. The present report focuses on the rationale for this discovery and the analysis of consequences for physics caused by the introduction of the concept of electron spin. History of introducing the concept of electron spin is associated with the Einstein-Texas experiment on the determination of the magnetochemical ratio. They relate on Bohr atomic model. From the experiment it follows that the ratio of the magnetic moment of an orbiting electron to its mechanical moment exceeded in two times the expected value which followed from calculation. Calculation for orbital magnetic moment of electron in an atom was carried out according to a simple formula where the average current, electric current I produced by electron moving in orbit was determined by this simple formula, as described in all sources, including a fundamental university textbook on physics. Our research has shown, however, that this formula is erroneous. Running ahead, I will say that average current I is twice as large. Accordingly, the calculated orbital magnetic moment of electron turned out twice less of experimentally obtained. To compensate the lost half of the orbital magnetic moment made as the calculations, the concept of all mechanical moment of relatively huge absolute value of half of h bar spin and corresponding to its own spin magnetic moment, just equal to the lost half, were subjectively introduced eventually. Opinion has fully formed that the presence of an intrinsic mechanical moment of electron spin of magnitude half of h bar is a real fact. However, this is a set misconceptions, only faith. There is no direct evidence of this feature. Information on the detection of the spin magnetic moment on free electrons unbound to atoms is absent. I will try to explain where and why an inexcusable mistake, fateful for the development of physics, was made, which led to introducing in physics, unreasonably as we revealed, the above mentioned inadequate notions with the following values attributed to them: half of h bar to electron spin and this ratio to spin magnetic moment of an electron. As a consequence, the introduced spin concept laid the foundation for erroneous theoretical construction. On the history of introducing the concepts of spin and spin magnetic moment, eigenvectors of an electron. How did the concept of electron spin appear in physics? Moreover, of such a relatively huge magnitude as half of h bar. Why huge, and what is h bar? Let's look at all this in detail. A physical constant h, the Planck constant, is the quantum of actions central in quantum mechanics. Planck constant divided by 2p is called the reduced Planck constant or Dirac constant. Both these parameters, h and h bar, are fundamental constants of modern physics. In magnitudes, the constant h bar is exactly equal to orbital moment of momentum, or angular momentum, or rotation momentum of the electron in the first Bohr orbit, according to the Rutherford Bohr atomic model, and is a quantum of this moment. Here, me is electron mass, and v0 and r0 is the first speed and first Bohr radius correspondingly. In quantum mechanics, there is no concept of the trajectory of the electron motion, and correspondingly, there are no circular orbits along which electrons move. Accordingly, there is no concept of speed of motions along orbits, just as there is no concept of the radii of such non-existent orbits. Moreover, in quantum theory, according to uncertainty principle, conjugate variables such as the particle speed v and its location r cannot be precisely determined at the same time. Therefore, the above two parameters v and r, cannot be presented together in the corresponding equation of the given quantum theory. For the reason stated above, formula for h bar and the formula for Planck constant h do not make sense in quantum physics and are practically not mentioned. The true classical origin of the constant h bar and h is simply hushed up. However, the history of introducing the concept of electron spin is related with the rotation momentum h bar, and everything began with the Einstein-Tehas experiment on the determination of the magnetomechanical gyromagnetic ratio. They adhered to the Bohr atomic model. Very briefly, highlights of the history of introducing the concept of spin. From Einstein-Tehas experiment, it follows that the ratio of the orbital magnetic moment of the electron moving along the Bohr orbit, mu orbital experimental, to its orbital mechanical moment of momentum, is equal to this ratio minus E divided by electron mass and speed of light. This result is turned out exceeded twice the expected value, theoretical, following from the calculation. So here in the denominator appeared in calculation the number 2, so it's a difference in 2 times. Minus signs indicates that direction of both moments, magnetic and mechanical, are opposite. Being absolutely sure of the infallibility of deducing the orbital magnetic moment of an electron here in this situation, instead of looking for a mistake in it in 2 times, physicists have chosen another way out of the situation with which they face it. To compensate for the last half in mu orbital, they advanced the idea that the electron has its own mechanical moment, exactly equal to half of h bar. If only such a moment actually exists, consequently an electron as a charged particle must also have its own magnetic moment correspond to the own mechanical moment, half of h bar. Following the hypothesis of Uhlenbeck and Gauss-Smith, the own mechanical moment assigned to an electron of the value half of h bar was called the electron spin. So The following suitable for matching theoretical with experimental data. Spin magnetic moment corresponding to the electron spin of the value half of h bar, this one, was subjectively introduced to the electron. In this way, the lost half of mu orbital in the theoretical obtained ratio was allegedly found. It's very simple. Added here the same as mu orbital erroneously calculated, and now all okay. Ultimately, having decided that the problem was solved, the invented spin concept was adopted in physics. Subsequently, the absolute value of the spin magnetic moment of the electron was taken as the unit of the elementary magnetic moment under the name the Bohr magneton. So, erroneous value equal to electron spin, magnetic moment of the spin, and equal to the magneton Bohr. So, introducing the above postulate about the spin of the electron, and with help of Frank fitting of the magnitude of the spin exactly equal to half of h bar, physicists compensated in this way the corresponding lost half of the magnetic moment in their theoretical expression. As a result, they have come to the desired gyromagnetic ratio, coinciding with the ratio obtained from the experiment. Very primitive method, simply as a rake. Added here the same value as mu orbital erroneously calculated, and so all okay. Let us return to the relation, derived by theories which contradict the experimental one due to the presence of the number 2 in the denominator of the formula for the mu orbital. I show where a blunder was committed. Calculation of orbital magnetic moment of electron in an atom was carried out as described in the literature, including textbook on physics, according to a simple formula which determines magnetic moment of a closed electric circuit, where S is the area of the orbit, C is the speed of light, and I is the mean value of the circular current. Following the definition of current used in electrical engineering as the flow electric charge, electron liquid, in a conductor, the average value of electric current I produced by electron moving in orbit was determined by this formula, where T orbital is the period of revolution of electron with charge E along the orbit. On the basis of these two expressions, physicists have come to this expression, erroneous as we found out, because it's a denominator, there is a number 2. Natural question arises, where should we look for the mistake in here? The answer is obvious for me, and maybe I hope that it's for you also. In the average value of electric current used here, no more options. C is the speed of light, S is the area, so only here I need to look for. So physicists could and should have verified carefully the suitability of the equation for the current generated by a single electron moving in an orbit, following as they believe from the general definition of the current expressed by equation I equal delta Q divided by delta T. However, being absolutely confident and in no way doubting this equation 9, they did not verify it, unfortunately. We have filled this gap. Consider what is the true average value of the current created by single elementary charge E moving along a closed trajectory. In a general case, the transfer of a charge E of an electron through any cross-sections S along any trajectory is accompanied by disappearance from one side, minus E point A, of an arbitrary cross-sections and the appearance on the other side plus E point B as shown here on this figure. It's very important, so I repeat again. So the disappearance of the charge on the left side of the cross-section means decrease in charge to the left of plus E to 0, that is by an amount minus E. And the appearance of charge on the right side of the sections means an increase in charge to the right of 0 to plus E, that is on the value plus E. So during the time t, the total change in charge is delta Q equal to 2E. It's very simple. Hence the average rate of change of the charge current I during the time t is equal to 2E divided by t. And in the case of circular orbit, when the points A and B coincide, an electron moving, having a charge E passes through the cross-section S with the average speed 2E divided by T orbital. T orbital is the period of revolution of the electron in a circular orbit. Generally, the transfer of any property of some object, the parameter of exchange P, is characterized by the average rate of exchange I, determined by these expressions. We can come to this formula also without violating the general accepted definition of the notions of current in physics. Let's transform the circular orbit into elliptical, as shown here in figure. We get two-wire closed loop. Consider current in two-wire closed loop. Electron moving along closed circuit during one full revolution, T orbital, passes in immediate vicinity of the point O 2 times fast, moving up. Average current on the left half of trajectory equal E divided by half of T orbital. And then moving down, the average current on the right half of the trajectory also equal to charge E divided by half of T orbital. So the electron 2 times create a transverse vortex magnetic field at this point, first passing along the left, and then along the right side of the trajectory from its century. With this, the conventional formula, which follow from the definition of the mean value of the current intensity, delta Q divided by delta T, adopted in physics, is not violated, both from the left and right side, and consequently along the entire closed circuit. The average current is the same. It is equal to 2E divided by T orbital. Electron, like any other elementary particle, manifests duality of behavior, both particles and waves. Therefore, we should derive the formula for the mean value of the current also for the case of the wave motion of an electron. To do this, firstly, it is necessary to determine a relationship between the period of revolution T orbital and the wave period T0. Consider one-dimensional case. From the well-known solution of the wave equation for a string of length L fixed at both ends, it follows that only one half wave of the fundamental tone is placed at its full length, L equal half of lambda. If we connect the ends of string together, then a circle with a length of L equal 2πr with one node is formed. As a result, we arrived at this equality 2πr equal L equal half of lambda, but alpha lambda is equal to the V0, the wave speed in the string, and the wave period T orbital. So we obtain this ratio T0, wave period equals 4πr divided by V. In the simplest three-dimensional case of solving the wave equation for a spherical field, we arrive at the same quality. Only one half wave of the fundamental tone is placed on the Bohr orbit, and the electron is in the node of the wave. So the wave period of the fundamental tone on the wave surface of radius r0 is equal to the time of 2 full revolutions along the orbit. That is equal to 2t orbital. So average value of electric current is a harmonic quantity, is determined by the known formulas, this one or this one. Amplitude of elementary current Im entering in this expression or this expression is equal to product of the frequency of fundamental tone omega 0 and the elementary charge, electron charge E, or this way, 2pe divided by T0. Substituting this magnitude, this value into this expression, we obtain I equal 4e divided by T0. Or since wave period equal to 2 orbital periods, we obtain that I equal current equal average value of current equal 2e divided by T orbital. True value of average current is twice the value used by theorists in the formula when calculating the orbital magnetic moment of the electron mu orbital and describing the Einstein-de Haas experiment. Surprisingly, so far, almost for a century, no one paid attention to the gross mistake contained in the formula for the average value of electric current produced by orbiting electron. So, mistake was found. Substituting the true value of the average current into the formula, we arrive at the true value in this formula, we arrive at the true value of the orbital magnetic moment of the electron. This one or this. Hence the true ratio of orbital magnetic moment mu orbital to its mechanical moment h bar orbital angular momentum is equal to this ratio. Obtained ratio of the moment completely coincide with the ratio of the moment's gyromagnetic ratio, which was observed experimentally in the Einstein-de Haas experiment and in Barnett experiments. Interesting comparison. For example, for the S, the own spin and orbital moments of momentum I equal corresponded to this value. Here is the order of magnitude power 10 to the power 33. Here 10 to the power 39, so 6 order magnitude difference. So ratio is insignificant. Imagine that the own moment of our S has become equal to half of orbital moment of momentum. This ratio is equal 1/2. The S will not be able to withstand such a huge moment and will be destroyed. The period of revolution of the S along the own axis will be about 1 second as against 86,400 seconds. Existence of electron with a spin equal to half of its h bar, half of its orbital momentum, regardless, independently of permissible size that would have been attributed to it, is also, like S, is impossible. Estimated in the wave model which we develop, one own magnetic moment of electron is insignificant. Look here. It's a 6th order of magnitude difference between orbital and the spin magnetic moment. I show this further. As we can see, the ratio of the about moments on spin to orbital, both for the orbiting electron and for the S, have the same order of magnitude, 10 to the power minus 6. Consequences. A mistake in 2 times made in the derivation of orbital magnetic moment of electron led to a whole series of postulated concepts. One of them is the concept of G factor. According to the original definition of the G factor, is the multiplier which connects the gyromagnetic ratio of the particle gamma obtained experimentally with a value of gyromagnetic ratio gamma 0 obtained theoretically, erroneous as we had shown, because here in the denominator there are number 2, following as it was thought the classical theory. So, as follows from the above definition, G factor for an electron is equal to the number 2. According to the definition accepted in modern physics, the so-called general G factor is a factor connecting the gyromagnetic ratio of the particle gamma with classical value of gyromagnetic ratio gamma 0. General G factor, it's a application of this parameter G factor not only for electron and for all elementary particles. As we see, the mistakenly calculated value gamma, where gamma 0, because here is a number 2 in the denominator, is considered in physics as a matter of course a classical value of gyromagnetic ratio. Obviously, this means a lack of understanding of the fallacy of the relation. G factor is in essence indicator of the mistake, its degree, made as a theoretical derivation of orbital magnetic moment electron, and nothing more. Hence the assignment by ignorance, certain physical meaning, classical value to these relations is unreasonable, erroneous. Experimental value of magnetic moment of electron in the Bohr orbit was determined more accurately over time, updated, slightly differs from the value obtained in the initial experiment. This small deviation increase was called anomaly. Because of the anomaly, G factor for electron slightly more than 2. In quantum mechanics, probabilistic in nature, which replaces the theory of Rutherford Bohr atom, there is no concept of orbital motion. Therefore, it was suggested and further accepted that the anomaly concerns the spin component of mu orbital, the property inherent as believed in a free electron. For convenience in physics, it was customary to express the anomalous magnetic moment of a free electron using the parameter alpha E, called also anomaly, defined by the following equality. Taking this into account and the value of intrinsic angular momentum of the electron spin, as was accepted to half of the orbital moment of momentum, the expression for the spin magnetic moment of electron is given in physics in the following form. What can be cause of disturbances of a free, as believed, electron resulting in the anomaly alpha E of its own spin magnetic moment? Influence of interatomic dynamics of constituent particles, nucleons, electrons, each separately bound between them, was excluded from possible causes since this is not a feature of the behavior inherent in the atom, according to the existing concept above itself. Physicist theory suggested that the perturbing impact on a free electron resulting in the anomaly of its own spin magnetic moment is due to influence of virtual particles. In accordance with the postulate on virtual particles, any ordinary particle continuously emits and absorbs virtual particles of various types, and the interaction between them is described in terms of the exchange of virtual particles. Process of appearance and disappearance of particles, virtual particles, lasts so short time interval, about 10 to the power minus 24 seconds. So the no detectors can find such particle in principle, hence the name virtual, imaginary, that is in fact unreal. So it was accepted to consider that the electron emits and absorbs virtual photons which change the effective electron mass. As a result, this influences on the electron's own spin magnetic moment and leads to its anomaly. In quantum theory of the electron, there is no concept of trajectory, motion of electron on orbit. Therefore, in quantum electrodynamics, the calculation of perturbation value anomaly is performed with respect to the spin magnetic moment of the electron. Adhering the postulate about virtual particles, derivation of the anomaly of the spin magnetic moment is carried out by the fit method and at the cost of enormous efforts for many decades by theorists of quantum electrodynamics from all over the world. How deeply the theory of quantum electrodynamics advanced and to what extent of the perfections the mathematical fitting of the data to the experiment has achieved, one can see from extremely complicated, a cumbersome resultant formula derived from the anomaly. In full expanded form, the calculated formula for the anomaly, alpha E entering in this expression, is extremely cumbersome because of huge mathematical expression for the coefficients in each of the terms of the formula. Therefore, I place it here only reduced expression for anomaly, alpha E, represented in the form of expansion in powers of the fine structure constant alpha, with the numerical values of the coefficients already calculated. Fine structure constant, it is a combination of other fundamental constant of physics. It's electron charge, speed of light, Planck constant, and the electric constant. And the fine structure constant is a big, great mystery of modern physics. And numerical coefficient, it's a result of derivation, for example, at the fourth term, is a result of derivation of about 10, about 100 huge 10-dimensional integral. So for calculation of this coefficient, you need to use supercomputers. So numerical value of the anomaly calculated by the formula for alpha has this value up to the seventh decimal place. This value of anomaly coincides with the last value recommended for use in physics, which coincide completely with this value. Only last members of this differ some. Then attention is this for the value recommended for use in physics. for Bohr magneton and for spin magnetic moment. Spin magnetic moments differ from the Bohr magneton by all the because of this this term, an anomaly. Because of the anomaly. So turn attention on this spin magnetic moment of the electron. This magnetic moment attribute electron of the value of this value is mistakenly associated with the internal motion of a free electron. As we have shown, this moment represents the lost half of mu orbital, so that the numerical value ascribed to spin magnetic moment of the electron is actually related to the electron orbital magnetic moment, just as the numerical value of magneton Bohr equal to absolute value of mu orbital theoretical, erroneously calculated, 2 times less. So accordingly, in magnitude, the orbital magnetic moment of the electron in the Bohr orbit is equal to sum of 2 above moments, practically equivalent value. This one, 13 and 14, recommended for use in physics. This one, because mu Bohr equal to mu orbital theoretical, and mu spin also equal to mu orbital theoretical, and plus small addition due to the anomaly. The effect of the electron proper moment on the orbital magnetic moment is insignificant, alpha E equal to this value. Spin magnetic moment of the accepted value has not been confirmed directly on free electrons, experimentally. Its value was obtained by subtracting of mu orbital equal to mu Bohr equal to mu orbital theoretically from updated value for mu orbital. Further knowing the value of mu magnetic moment of the spin, from this relation the experimental value of anomaly has become known. Then to get the appropriate formula for the anomaly, which should correspond with high accuracy to the experimental value, following from the above relations of sophisticated theoretical manipulation, fitting, have begun. As a result, despite of the great difficulty, thanks to enormous effort, the formula for alpha E was ultimately obtained. So the true numerical value of the orbital magnetic moment of the electron has this magnitude. First term here is the erroneously calculated orbital magnetic moment of electron, twice less than experimental obtained, accepted as a physical constant with a positive sign under the name the Bohr magneton. Bohr magneton, akin to mu orbital theoretical. And the second term represents the lost half of the orbital magnetic moment of electron, with allowance for the anomaly attributed erroneously to a free electron as its interim parameter. Solution of the wave model, where the concept of circular orbits is inherent in the structure of atoms, directly lead to the same value, same magnitude of the orbital magnetic moment. So consider solution within the wave model. Wave model which we developed is based on dialectics, dialectical philosophy and dialectical logic. In accordance with the latter, universe is a material ideal system where everything at all its levels, including micro and mega, is in a continuous oscillatory wave motion, is subject to the law of rhythm. This means that all objects and phenomena in the universe have the wave nature. Accordingly, they can be described by the general wave equation. The above feature is accepted in the wave model is an axiom and is taken into account in the description of physical phenomena, including the anomalous magnetic moment of electron. Judging by the results, the wave model is a real alternative to the standard model of modern physics. There is a series of publications devoted to the wave model. They can be found on the website of the author and are available for download. Details concerning conception of the wave model and the unique result obtained within its two theories were presented in particular in the last year at the two international conferences on quantum physics and quantum technology in Berlin, Germany, and in physics in Brussels, Belgium. In these references, 11 and 12, there are links to video and PDF files of the above presentation. In the wave model, there are no postulated and weighted concepts, such as the electron spin and so on. About anomalies explained in the wave model as an effect of influence of interatomic wave processes on the orbital motions of electron, but in any way not related to the impact of mystical virtual photons on electron spin. Insignificant perturbations, anomaly in the electron motions in an atom, is due to the wave structure and wave behavior of its constituent particles and the atom as a whole, which is an interconnected nucleon-electron wave system. In the framework of the wave model, the formula for orbital magnetic moment taking into account weak perturbation anomaly is derived relatively simply and logically flawlessly. Here is a completely expanded form. Orbital magnetic moment of electron obtained from these equations, this completely coincide in magnitude completely with the total magnetic moment orbiting electron when summing the two components of the moments recommended for use in physics. First term in this equation is equal to the value calculated by the formula with the true value of electric current, and the last terms is take into account anomaly. So a physical parameter entering in these expressions presented in this slide. I would like to say that some parameters previously unknown for modern physics, it's, for example, Re, the radius of a spherical shell of electron, and omega E is the fundamental frequency atomic and subatomic levels. H bar E is the all moment of electron, and lambda bar E is the fundamental wave radius corresponding to the fundamental frequency of the atomic and subatomic level. And three parameters entering in this equation is the fundamental constant of modern physics, whose true physical meaning was clarified thanks to the wave model. For example, charge of the electron. Charge of the electron is the elementary quantum of the rate of mass exchange, and here is a true value and dimensionality. So first term in this equation, it is correspond to the orbital magnetic calculated by the equation where the true value of electric current is used, and the next term take into account the subsequent corrections, anomaly. For example, second term, the term the contribution is the orbital magnetic electron disturbance caused by vibration of the central mass of a hydrogen atom as a whole in the wave spherical field of exchange limited by the wave radius as the oscillatory region of the atom. The way The wave motion causes oscillation of the wave spherical shelf of the hydrogen atom, limited by the Bohr radius R0, together with the electron moving along the way. The third term takes this oscillation into account. According to the dynamic model, elementary particles, which is one of the two theories of the wave model, elementary particles, according to the elementary particles and electron, like a proton or like an elementary particle, is dynamic spherical formation. Therefore, the own vibration of the center of mass of the electron, caused by different reasons, also take place. What first term take into account the contribution of this vibration. This term, including the parameter h bar e, where r is the radius of wave spherical shell of the electron, obviously is related to the own motions of the electron and has corresponded to its own spin magnetic moment. As follows of the wave model, a radius of the wave spherical shell of the electron has this value. Small empirical coefficient in this expression compensates for some uncertainty of the radial solutions, these roots of Bessel functions, and the linear speed of rotation of electron around its own axis. It's the equator of its wave spherical shell for radius Re, defined by this relation, where V0 and R0 are respectively the Bohr speed and radius. Contribution of the last term to the total magnetic moment orbiting is insignificant. So it's it is about 0.3 comparing with the incredible 50% contribution to the total magnetic moment of the spin magnetic moment assigned erroneously to electron. So compared here for spin magnetic moment assigned in modern physics to 10 to the power minus 24, here 10 to the minus 29. Interatomic oscillatory wave processes taken into account in equations wave model perturb, modulates the orbital motion of the electron, which manifests itself in particular the phenomena of the anomalous magnetic moment of the electron and the phenomenon called the length shift. According to approaching to the end, it should be recalled that orbital magnetic moment of electron, following directly from the wave model, coincide in magnitude with the orbital magnetic moment, completely coincide, following from the quantum electrodynamic when summing the two components of the moment, roughly equal in value. Contribution here to this magnitude of the spin magnetic moment is insignificant, it's equal to this value. So the ratio of the magnetic moment to the moment of the orbiting electron correspond to Einstein-Tehas experiment completely. As was discovered in the wave model, electron charge E is elementary quantum of the rate of mass exchange. It is equal to the product of its associated mass ME at the fundamental frequency of the atomic and subatomic level. Substituting this value for electric charge into this ratio, we arrive at the following result. Data obtaining means that the ratio of the moments is a fundamental impotence. It is equal in magnitude to the fundamental wave number, Ke, related with the fundamental frequency, atomic and subatomic level, and the fundamental wave radius, lambda var E. Above data are in accordance with the objective theory of electromagnetic processes described in the wave model. These relations are also valid for proper Ohm moments. Here I show the effectiveness of two theories, quantum electrodynamics and the wave model, by comparing the formulas for anomaly following from these theories. It's here for formula derived from quantum electrodynamics. It's a reduced form only, short form. Numerical factors were computed on supercomputers, and alpha and the fundamental fine structure, fundamental constant of modern physics, called the fine structure constant, is a combination of other fundamental constant of modern physics. Charge of the electron, h bar, reduced Planck constant, speed of light, and electrical constant. And interesting notions. All pages of these slide presentations are not enough if you would want to place this formula with the explicit form of all integral expression for the coefficients in the term of the expressions. Here a formula derived from the wave model. Here is a full explicit form, very simple. To calculate it, it is enough to have a simple calculator. So we can compare effectiveness of two theories, and the result is the same results with the same accuracy. Here I show parameters for electron, orbital, and Ohm spin recommended for use in physics, quantum electrodynamics, and obtained within the wave model. According to experimental data, the value of orbital magnetic moment of electron is equal to this magnitude. Theoretically calculated in the wave model completely coincide with this value, but in quantum electrodynamics, in modern physics, it's orbital moment is equal half of this experimental value, erroneously calculated, and was subjected introducing spin magnetic moment just equal the same value. Here some more because of the anomaly. So, in this really spin magnetic moment of electron is insignificant, and it's only has this insignificant value from the complete orbital magnetic moment of electron. Summary of results you can read yourself, because this presentation, slide presentation, available, and you can download it in internet in PDF file. Conclusion. After introducing a postulate on electron spin of half of h bar, a whole series of concepts related to the spin were introduced in physics. Electron G factor, anomaly of electron spin magnetic moment, erroneous classical value for gyromagnetic ratio, general G factor for elementary pattern, virtual particles, etc. In 1928, the Dirac equation appears, combining quantum mechanics and relativity. Dirac rearranged the Schrödinger equation in such a way that an electron spin appears there. As a result, quantum field theory, quantum electrodynamics, was created. Dirac equation is a basic equation of quantum electrodynamics, represents the relativistic generalization of Schrödinger equation. Schrödinger equation, recalled, is a basic equation of quantum mechanics, and is one of its 6 basic postulates, like the concept of electron spin. half of h bar in magnitude, Schrödinger equation is erroneous as well. That was convincingly proved. See, for example, these references. So Dirac equations became yet another abstract mathematical creation in a knowing chain of doubtful postulated concepts accepted in physics, along with such of them as mentioned above. Taking into account all the data, including presented here, quantum electrodynamics, dominant theory of modern physics, can be compared figuratively by analogy with the Tower of Babel, moreover with its best version, since it is building on a ghastly foundation of fiction, abstract mathematical postulates, subjectively introduced concept. This means that at present modern physics is on the wrong track. It is very important to remind that the whole change of questionable concepts associated with the creation of quantum electrodynamics began with the use of erroneous formula for average current generated by the orbital electron E divided by T orbital. I repeat again, surprisingly, so far, almost for a century, no one paid attention to this formula, which led to serious consequences for physics. After that, one mistake, huge consequences. Erroneous concepts, abstract mathematical postulates, are in the base of modern physics theories, adhering the standard model. They, in turn, have given rise to numerous subjective fundamental constants. All this complicates cognitions of the universe or even makes it impossible, in particular at the atomic level. Experiments based on erroneous concepts are unable to detect the accumulated errors. So everything is formally right and consistent. Wrong concepts give rise to false theories, within which formally correct results are possible only on the basis of new mistake, in full agreement with the dialectical law of double negation. Initial lie multiplied by the new line is the formal truth. Yes, the result of this course of events can be only one at the end. However, not everything is so bad. Judging by the data obtained, the Wave model, based on the new paradigm, showed itself as a real alternative to the standard model dominant in modern physics, and can be changed the unfavorable trend. References, most of them are available in the internet. You can download it. And you can download also this slide presentation. Here is the address of it. Thank you very much for your attention.